Welcome to St. Louis Presents. I'm Sandy Stevenson, and we've got Vern Fuller here. We've got Aprille Trupiano and Steve Potter here in the studio with us. Got a jam-packed show for you guys, but you already know how we do at the beginning of every show. We got to talk about what we were talking about in the green room, and we were talking about a whole heck of a lot in the green room, specifically the Fair St. Louis stuff going on, because there's been a change of venue. You guys know it's typically at the Arch Grounds, and it is now at Forest Park, and I know you were feeling very strongly about it since you've covered it for a while. So how do you feel about that? Do you guys think it's going to be a little bit of an issue out there?
I think it would be nice to have the fireworks over like Art Hill, but I don't, Steve and I were talking, I don't think anything's going to beat the Arch background.
Yeah, Forest Park is a beautiful place, but fireworks over the Arch, I mean, you can't beat that.
You can't beat that.
That's
Parking.
true.
But there's nowhere to pull up the barge.
Yeah.
They'll figure that out. They'll figure that out.
That could be an issue in Forest Park.
They have lagoons. They have lagoons.
They got a lagoon, but I think parking is going to be one of my primary concerns. I mean, how is that going to work out when you've got about 3 million people trying to converge
Maybe
in
they'll do
Forest
shuttles.
Park?
The one positive
Is anybody
thing,
listening? We should do shuttles.
the one
Hey, you should be on the
positive
committee
thing
to
about
decide
Forest
that.
Park is there's more places to lie down,
That's true. That's very, very true.
which comes in handy for some of us. Yeah.
It should be interesting. It's not, a permanent thing. It's just temporary while they're doing things.
We can
over
get
Arch,
through it.
so-
We can get through it.
Yeah.
But hey, the 1904 World's Fair was there. I don't think there were 3 million people there, but who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
I think it'll be a nice venue. Change temporarily.
It'll
Not
work.
too bad.
It'll work.
It should be okay.
We'll make
I'll
it
have
work.
someone drop me
Are you
off when I
willing
go.
to work with it, Steve?
I'll work with it
know
this
you're
year,
feeling
just this year.
Right, okay. And I know we were talking about something else now. I feel strongly about this. I'm a Jayhawk. I graduated from University of Kansas. And you guys had to have heard about the whole Mizzou Sucks license plate situation, right? And Aprille, you were feeling pretty strongly about this.
Well, because I don't think it's such a big deal. I really don't. I mean,
don't either.
But
I'm
we
biased.
use the language.
A little. Just a tad. I mean, I love Missouri and all that good stuff.
But
But
I
I'm
mean,
a true Jayhawk to the core.
There's gotta
Rock
be.
chalk.
Look at
It's
it.
on the
You know?
graphic right now. There's got to be
Yeah, take a look.
There is some kind of committee or entity that censors the content of personalized tags. I think you got to draw the line somewhere. Otherwise, you'll have sexual.
It's not as profane as
Have
it
you
could
guys
be, though.
watched?
Windows.
Have you watched TV? Have you ever seen 2.5 Men and you're worried about that license plate?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Who
I mean, I'm sure
cares?
they're not going to allow every single thing. I mean, there's racist things that could happen, that kind of
Exactly.
thing. You know what I mean?
Right,
Obviously, they're
right.
going to be a little bit more.
Those personalized plates
careful with
annoy
that
me
stuff.
anyway. Just like I don't like the bumper stickers people have. I don't care what religion you are, or how good a student your kid is. I don't really want to see that on your car.
The worst personalized plate I ever saw actually said "wanted." Now I don't know who'd want to drive around with that.
It could mean a lot of
with,
things.
with the police behind you.
Because if I had it on my plate, I'd be like wanted as in like,
If you go to
they
the club,
want me.
if you go to the club, that's one
No,
thing.
not like
Yeah.
by the law.
If I
You
was
know
a
what I'm
police
saying.
officer, I'm definitely pulling this guy over. I at least got checked.
Oh, that's terrible. But
Well,
I'm not
this is
gonna
not
lie.
profane. So
That's
No,
true. That's true.
no.
That's true. But I'm not gonna lie. Really, Mizzou sucks. The whole. I'm cool with.
You
the
were excited
license
about
plate.
that, weren't you?
Yeah,
I know,
saw it,
my
and I was
brothers
like,
were not happy.
that's right up my alley, and I
I
can't
don't think
help
they
it.
should have approved that. I mean, sucks because then you got, well, I want to put something else that sucks on it. I mean, where do we draw the line? You got to have.
We
gotta
hear,
have.
we hear
We're
enough
gonna let
hateful
the Missouri
As
people
long-
talk
Vern-
about this
but Vern-
forever.
Vern wouldn't mind if it said saggy pants socks.
Right.
Oh.
There you go. We can talk about this forever, but you guys know we have the rest of the show to get to, so we're going to have to shut everybody up right now. But you guys have a lot to look forward to. We've got the World Bird Sanctuary here today, and we literally have birds all up in this studio. April's going to talk about one of the scariest places that she's been to here in St. Louis. Thank God it wasn't me. And so we're going to go ahead and take a break real quick and have you guys check out STL in 90 seconds.
This is St. Louis in 90 seconds. St. Louis Community College has an interim chancellor. Dennis Michaelis has been appointed by the Board of Trustees to take over for departed Chancellor Myrtle Dorsey, who left in September. Michaelis was previously the president at McLennan Community College in Texas. It is not known how long Michaelis will serve as interim chancellor, but officials do plan to begin a search for a permanent replacement, although no timetable has been set. New research has men all over the world celebrating. Scientists have found that having a beer instead of water or Gatorade after a workout is actually better for you. Beer helps to rehydrate the body better, the carbonation helps quench the thirst, and the carbs help replace lost calories. So instead of a bottled water after your workout, reach for a Bud. drivers beware. A stretch of Washington Avenue is closed near Laclede's Landing as work begins on the Park Over the Highway project. The closure, which will last about a month, is the first step as the Gateway Arch Grounds begins its makeover project, scheduled to open in 2015. It's almost here. The 22nd annual Whitaker St. Louis International Film Festival is right around the corner. Hosted by Cinema St. Louis, the festival is one of the largest in the Midwest. Beginning November 14th, you can see over 350 cutting-edge films and shorts from around the globe. So gather your popcorn, and we'll see you at the movies. This has been St. Louis in 90 seconds.
Well, okay, so don't laugh yet. It appears that a beer after a workout is good, but what I'm thinking about, and I'd like to volunteer for the study, is what about a beer before a workout?
Look, I'm all about the beers during the workout. Before, I'm not really much of a beer drinker. I'm more of a cranberry vodka person, but I would do either or, before, after, during.
I'm thinking.
I'm not an alky though. I
I'm
promise.
thinking beers before a workout. There would be no workout, so I don't know.
That could very well be the case. That could very well be the case. Well, it's time to get serious, guys. And with the recent news of another school shooting in Nevada, you may actually find yourself having to explain those tragic types of events like these to your kids. And we actually have a wonderful guest here in the studio, Lena Johnson, who is going to let us know some of the ways that we can communicate and talk to our kids about these types of events.
Let me just say something first. I guess that's that age-old question, you know, how much do you tell kids about anything and when? When's the right time, right?
Yeah.
Well, with 24-hour news, YouTube, access to internet, they know everything.
Twitter,
so,
all of that stuff.
Basically, you know, we might want to try to protect our kids, but if we don't put things in context, they're going to take it wherever they take it. So I think it's better to discuss things with them as opposed to acting like it didn't exist.
Do we let them take the lead, though? Isn't it a need to know? You don't tell them too much, but if they ask a question, you answer the question.
Well, let's talk about it. Okay. So number one, acknowledge that something has happened. So really to just, you know, ask them a question. I would start off that way. You know, you heard what happened, or if something actually happened in your school.
Find out what they know.
Find out what they know, and actually think about what they're talking to you about, and actually have a discussion. That would be number two, okay? So acknowledge, you know, I was watching the news, this happened, what do you think about that? And listen to what they're actually saying. And then based on what they say, have a discussion. Don't just start talking as we as adults typically do, and we'll just say, well, this is what I think, and this is what should happen, and blah, 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 blah. Oftentimes you need to allow your child to discuss their own feelings and bring that out.
And then you want to validate how they feel, right?
Yes, you do. Validate and empathize. You know, ask them, you know, well, how would you handle this? Or what do you think? Or what are your classmates saying? You kind of want to get an idea of what's going on in their world. And this is a great way to do that.
And so a lot of the premise of this is basically just making sure to communicate that as early as possible, because you just don't know how a child can internalize those types of things.
Sure, and in today's world, these tragedies are happening daily and in
All
their
the time.
schools, right?
Yeah.
This happens to be a shooting, but think about the things that are happening on a daily basis in school that they probably don't talk about. So this is a great opportunity to kind of get in touch with their feelings.
Sure.
And is it an ongoing process too? Maybe you have this discussion with them about this one particular incident, and just because they act like maybe it doesn't bother them, maybe you should keep your eyes open, because in 2 or 3 days you might need to revisit it.
Sure, you want to offer support, and based on what you hear them saying and not saying, you know, ask them, you know, well, is there something that I can do to help you feel better, or what do you suggest? And then they may say, oh, it's no big deal, and they may blow it off, but you're the parent. So you have to step in, and if you feel like there's something that's missing, something they're not talking about, you need to offer support as well and say, you know what, well, maybe we should go and talk to somebody about this. And I'm not necessarily...
So ask, at what point do you say,
Yeah.
we need to take it to that next level and see someone, you know, on a professional level?
Well, the thing of it is I do coaching, strategic planning, training. I'm not a counselor. Okay, so there are people who, you know, you don't want them to feel like they have to go and get counseling because somebody else passed. But you do want them to feel like they have an open space to be able to discuss their feelings and their thoughts. So I wouldn't necessarily say go to the professional, but you may say, you know, let's go talk to one of my friends, you know, and it may be somebody that you know in your life who has dealt with things like this. So sometimes it's just an adult that's not the parent that can kind of give them some input or that they can relate to.
And you have to wonder what they're hearing from other kids their own age too.
And that's why you want to be proactive and offer your support, because your support may be, I want to shelter, and their support may be, I need to express.
That makes sense.
And the best thing, I guess, is to make them feel like if they have a concern, if something's bothering them, they're not afraid to come to you at some point and bring it up themselves.
I think one of the ways that you do that is you admit your own fear. You know, I think as an adult, you want to say, you know, I heard this and it hurt me, or I heard this and it made me feel scared for you.
So it's okay for us to act vulnerable then? We don't have
Not
to be
even
the strong
act.
one?
We are, and that's why we're talking to them about it. So we need to be honest with them, because when we try to act like it doesn't matter, or act like we're big and tough, or act like, you know, the world is not painful or tough, then it doesn't help them. And we want to help them with real coping skills. And one of the ways that we do that is to acknowledge our own fears, acknowledge our own concerns, and talk about our need for safety for ourselves and for them.
Makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense. There's so much that can be looked at in this regard. You know what I mean? That's just one of my biggest fears. And we were talking about this back in the green room, like how times have changed. And, you know, some of the fears that we have now are not some of the, we don't want to date ourselves here, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
Some of the fears that we had growing up are just not the same fears that, you know, are predominant now, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
It's just scary that you
Yes.
could potentially have this type of conversation with your child.
Well,
And
kids-
it's an
happening every
important
day.
time.
Kids are forced to grow up a lot earlier these days.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank you so much for being here with us
Thanks.
today.
It's always great to be here.
Yes. And of course, we have to send it over to April and Vern, because there truly are birds in this studio, and you guys have to see this. So what's going on over there, y'all?
It is not every day you get to be this close to a bald eagle and a falcon, and actually I'm amazingly calm because I'm here with Walt Crawford from the World Bird Sanctuary.
These birds are gorgeous, though. They really are.
Oh, they are. I mean, the birds, actually birds and bird watching is now the #1 hobby in the United States.
What?
But
Yeah.
these
Never
are
knew.
birds that you get to watch on a very regular basis.
Well, they're in my front yard, that we live with them.
Now, I'm curious. How did you come to work with the World Bird Sanctuary?
Well, I spent my early childhood in Venezuela, and my father was an engineer up there, and there wasn't a heck of a lot to do, and the birds caught my eye, I guess, because of their color, and so my mother always blamed him for me never really getting a job, you know, so she never felt this was a real job, so I don't know. But yeah, birds in general are the indicators of our world. You know, things that affect us will affect them first.
Are we talking like pollution or climate change?
Oh, like DDT and pollution, yes, right. Plate glass windows, you know, we run a hospital out there, so we gather data on what's bringing them into us, you know.
I see.
Now, you're an ornithologist. Exactly what is that?
Well, it's a crazy person that follows birds and studies birds, you know, it's just, and makes not much money. I mean, it's that simple, you know.
Well, these birds are actually amazing. We were talking in the green room. These things can actually crush the wrist. They have so much power in the feet, and that's why your wonderful assistants have to wear these gloves.
Well, they're all worried about, they're worried about getting, bitten.
Right, right.
And you
No
said
way.
someone had to get 318 stitches in the eye
That does 280, hit in the face.
But not these guys.
No.
Lewis and
Those were
Millennium
not our
have been
birds.
great. Okay.
These people that work with us are very well trained, and the birds get to know certain people, and there are certain people can't handle certain birds.
Okay, he's staring at me right now. Is it okay to go eye to eye with him, or is he sizing me up, or what's going on here?
Well, your medical bills are paid up, I assume. You know, so.
Got insurance.
Now, tell us about the sanctuary. You do have the hospital there. You have visitors all the time. Tell us
Yes.
about what you guys do over
We've
there.
got over 300 acres. We've got 5 major trails if you want to take your kids out on a trail. We have a visitor center. We have an education center, like our hospitals there, and countless exhibits of birds that have been injured and can't go back to the wild.
Now, there were some, including these two, that were really endangered, and you've been very instrumental in bringing them back. Can you expound on that some?
Well, when we first started, the peregrine falcon and the bald eagle were totally extinct in Missouri. And we started breeding them from injured birds that came through our hospital and couldn't go back. They started having babies and laying eggs, and we started releasing them. And the peregrine was the first to come back. We had no nesting pairs here for over 100 years.
Wow.
And then in 1991, the first chick ever hatched in the wild was hatched in downtown St. Louis on what was then the AT&T building, and on the 36th floor, because they live in urban areas. They like to nest up high, and there's plenty of food there in the form of pigeons.
Well, you're actually a falconer.
I'm a falconer as well, yeah.
A falconer. Now, when you go out hunting, what's that like? You hunt for what kind of game?
Well, my birds are mainly trained to hunt for rabbits. The falcons hunt mainly for waterfowl and pheasant and quail. And it's something you can't explain. You have to, it's like parachuting. You have to experience it to understand it.
Sure.
It's, the birds, my bird will follow me in the field wherever I'm walking. And my job is to flush the game. And it helps us keep, in urban areas, keeps the rabbits down to a decent population.
I might need you to come to my backyard. There's a whole lot of rabbits back there.
Well, I bet you got owls nesting there and you don't even know it.
Probably. Oh, I've seen them, actually.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
heard them and seen them. I'm curious, though, how can people get involved? I know you have adoption programs.
Yep.
People can donate, volunteer, intern. Talk to us about that.
Well, we have interns. In fact, this young lady here is one of the interns. We have had over 400 from all over the world have come here to study with us. And that's one option if you're a student. If you just want to volunteer, I don't care how old you are or what you want to do, you may not want to be out there cutting up deer or something, but you might want to help us in the office. So there's always something. Everybody's got a talent that they're unaware of. And we're glad to have it, because it helps us and it helps them too, because we're a pretty tight-knit family.
Well, you do amazing work. Congratulations on all of your achievements at the World Bird Sanctuary.
Well, thank
and
you for
thank you
having
to your
us.
assistants
Yeah.
for their patience and keeping that arm out there like that. Let's take a look at the graphic we have up right now, which gives you more information about the World Bird Sanctuary. And thank you for coming in today.
Yeah,
It's a
thank
pleasure,
you.
Pleasure. Come out and visit us anytime.
Fantastic.
We're open 7 days a week.
Awesome, awesome.
Now, speaking of, I know you were a little nervous here, but I got to tell you, I was in a pretty scary place recently. I know you were.
I know. I can't wait to see the story you did on the darkness package.
Well, as you can tell by the sights and sounds, we're here at one of the scariest haunted houses in America, the Darkness. The Darkness is celebrating its 20th year, one of the longest running haunted houses. And I gotta tell you guys, it's pretty creepy in here. However, we're gonna muster up the courage for you and trek on through. So come on, let's go. We're here with James Kelly, co-owner of Halloween Productions. James, this is gorgeous here.
Oh, thank you.
You're celebrating your 20th year here at the Darkness. That's a big deal, 20 years.
That's been a long road. We started out small and now we're, a pretty big, pretty crazy looking attraction here. But it's just kind of like anything else. If you love it and you keep with it and you keep adding to it, it becomes what it is today.
So you said that every year you add something new. Can you tell us something that you've added, or is it a surprise?
Actually experiencing it means everything. But we probably added about 10 new rooms this year. I'm going to tell you, we added a dining room. You're going to be, oh, big deal. But it's a haunted, scary dining room that'll freak you out. We got really heavy this year into a lot of video effects. So a lot of stuff that you just can't do with animatronics or you just can't do with actors. We've done some really custom-made video effects that kind of give you a different level of attraction. We are open every day until actually November 2nd. People do want discount coupons. Number one, you can get a discount on scarefest.com. You can download one. Dr. Pepper is a sponsor this year, and you can get a discount off their cans. It's actually one of the better discounts. After you walk through, we have a really great store in the very back that's actually run by Slackers, and they have a lot of really cool stuff that you could buy. If you forgot to get your mask for your Halloween costume or whatever, there's a very good chance they might have it back there.
Holy moly, that was one hair-raising experience. You guys don't want to miss this. Get your tickets and come on down to the Darkness. I feel like somebody's watching me.
That is scary
Yeah.
stuff.
Super scary. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I'm glad it was her and not me.
But it looks like something fun to do in the fall.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of, the gore.
The
per se,
paranormal.
reptiles and spiders and stuff like that. Nah, that.
Our
You
next
funny.
guest, let's go. Our next guest is an author from Kenya who's made St. Louis her home.
And she actually hopes that her new book, Life is Not Fair, It's Meant to Be, will inspire people to overcome difficult situations and turn them into something positive. Esthher Kibunja, nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's dive in.
Yes, tell us about this wonderful book. This is the book right here, as you guys can see. Life is not unfair, it's meant to be. So tell us why you wrote this.
Yes, the book is about my life through crisis, what I went through. And the intention is to help people who are going through situations.
Let me hit some of those highlights because we really talked about them. Lupus, for one, you were diagnosed. You said the doctors gave up on you.
Yes,
And when
September 2000.
September 2000, so they basically said you're dead.
They were saying that they told me there's
You're
no
gonna
hope
die.
because my heart was so inflamed, my lungs were so inflamed too, so I couldn't breathe by myself.
And this made you resign from a
Yes.
great job, actually.
Yes, I was working at the Embassy of Kenya in Washington, D.C. at the time, and definitely there's no way I could have continued working. So in the process of looking for a cure for myself, I bumped into nutrition and colonics. So I did that, so I juiced myself to health.
I've had a colonic.
Nice.
I think I know how an alien abduction feels now.
Well, it's not that bad.
Cannot with this man. He's disregarded.
Yes, it's
But
actually not
juicing
that
is very,
bad.
very healthy
It's awesome,
as well.
yes.
Yes,
and of course
I
there are
know
other
that I
supplements
hear
that
that
I
it
do.
can turn everything around.
It really did help me, yes.
And I've known people who say they have lupus, but this was a cure?
Well,
for you?
definitely, I would. Well, for me, it's more like a spiritual thing, because definitely I had a voice as to what I needed to do.
Really?
Yes. So
You heard a voice?
I had a voice, and I went to an Adventist bookstore. That was where I was led to go, and I got this book from a doctor called Dr. Malcolmus, who had healed himself of colon cancer. And he had said, of course, he was talking about how he healed himself through juicing and some product called Barley Max from barley. And that's what I did, and I got myself well. So definitely, yes, it's more of a spiritual thing. A lot of people say there's no cure for that. Well, I believe that, but still, when it comes to God, nothing is impossible.
I
How
totally
about that?
agree with that.
Yes.
Totally agree. And it's not just this type of situation. You're talking about, in general, any difficult situations in your life, professionally,
Exactly.
whatever, relationship-wise, health-wise, there's a more positive way to live your life, and so that you're not living in that.
Yes, I went through loss, I went through illness, I went through a legal battle, and and I know there's some people who have gone through worse situation, but it doesn't really matter what you're going through. You still can turn that situation into a positive thing.
And that
move
is
on.
the basis of your book because you've overcome all of these hurdles that have come up in your life. And so your book is written, obviously a work of passion, but written to help people who
Overcome situation and move on, because a lot of people are stuck in their stories. You see, they want to mourn, they want people to sympathize with them, but that's not the thing, because you have to help yourself. At the end of the day, it's you to create a better life for yourself. So you got to move on. So there are two choices in life. It's either you mourn forever and get stuck in your story, or wake up and do something about it.
get busy living or get busy
Yes,
dying.
Exactly.
I totally agree. Now, if there's any information you want to let people know how they can get in touch with you, or if they're looking to purchase the book, where would they find that information?
Well, my book is on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles online. And of course, they can get in touch with me at my website, www.estherkibunja.com, or my email is contactme@estherkibunja.com.
The book is Life is Not Unfair.
Yes.
Yes.
It is meant to be.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's, I mean, the passage on the front, live the life you've always dreamed of. Be fearless in the face of adversity whenever possible. Recognize the beauty that surrounds you. Remember where you came from, but don't lose sight of where you are going. Be the architect of your own destiny. I love that.
Yes.
That
Esthher,
is
your
so
life
striking.
is an inspiration, and thank you for coming in and joining us.
Yes,
Thank you for
so much
having
being
me.
here.
Appreciate
Thank you, and good luck with everything in the future.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and send things over to Steve, who's going to let us know what's going on in the news in STL.
All right, thanks, Sandy. Monsanto breaks ground on a new $400 million research center. The expansion project is expected to add more than 600 research and development jobs to the area economy. It should be completed in 2017. The center will have 36 greenhouses, 250 laboratories, and other essential areas for plant growth. It's been 4 years, but a St. Louis tradition is finally back in service. In 2009, the discovery of lead paint forced the closure of the St. Louis Mounted Police Stables in Forest Park. After a thorough cleanup, a new roof, and some fresh paint, the horses are home again. As of now, 4 officers are certified to ride the mounts, but look for that number to increase. The St. Louis Mounted Police date back to 1867 and have been in continuous service since 1970. And speaking of renovations, a hometown favorite gets a major overhaul thanks to the folks on the TV show Restaurant Impossible. Mama Campese's on the Hill was closed by TV host and chef Robert Irvin for 2 days. In those 48 hours, the restaurant's decor and menu got a complete makeover, which includes serving a rabbit entree. So look for the episode on the Food Network at 9 p.m. on Wednesdays. Although we set aside the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it's important to remember that cancer affects people in all months. The Black Women Breast Cancer Survivor Project wants to continue its mission to help stop the spread of cancer and to help people going through the battle now. Here to talk about the upcoming Knowledge is Power Conference and the group's mission is Brittany Ferrell. Hi, Brittany. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Steve.
Breast cancer, of course, is an issue that faces all women, but Black women in particular are more vulnerable to this?
Black women are more than likely to die from the disease. And with the Black Power Conference that we have, our message is fairly simple. Just because you are diagnosed with breast cancer does not mean that a Black woman has to die from the disease.
We've certainly come a long way in the last few years and continue to, don't we? What's the importance then of support groups in general to a woman going through something like this?
Well, it just gives them a place to go to talk about, what they're going through, whether it's, emotional, physical needs. I know that our plans are to develop and implement a spiritual steps program, and the sister program just kind of gives them a way to build relationships with one another to make their process and their treatment more smoothly.
And how do women get into activities like this? Is this something that their doctor points them to, or is it hard for some women to find and connect?
Well, there are resources out there to help, get the information out, whether you go through a doctor's office or an educational institution. I know that at UMSL we have a lot of people in the College of Nursing that can point you into different directions to different support groups. Yes.
Brittany Ferrell, thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you.
us. I want to remind people it's the Knowledge is Power Conference coming up on November the 2nd between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Millennium Student Center at UMSL's North Campus. Admission is free, but it'd be a good idea to register. Call them at 314-516-5994, or you can find them online and sign up that way. And I lost a grandmother that I love very dearly to breast cancer back when I was a freshman in college in 1974. And that was back in the days, and this is serious, you guys are too young. That was back in the days when people didn't even talk about breast cancer. It was like a taboo topic. And look how far we've come and how much that helps to be able to talk about something like
I
that.
did not know that Black women were more likely to die from breast cancer.
That was a surprise to me.
Me too.
I didn't know that either. But I am glad that we talked about it because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
But
Yes.
the point being made, think about it every month.
Think about it every month. That was
Yes,
a good
every
point.
day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we want to, of course, thank all our guests for swinging by the studio today.
And thanks for all of you for watching us. We appreciate it.
Remember to check us out, St. Louis Presents, and all of our other programs streaming live on YouTube.
And don't forget to look us up on Facebook and Twitter. Give us a shout out. Let us know what you're thinking.
See you next time.
Bye.